It's 3 p.m. on Thursday here in Seoul. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Hwang Ji-hye. Our top story this afternoon, President Park Geun-hye dropped by a town committed to environmentally friendly practices as part of her efforts to see how the government's policies are being implemented in the field. Hongcheon in Gangwon-do province, known as Korea's first eco-city, generates power by converting the methane gas from animal manure into electricity. It also uses small hydraulic and solar panels. President Park launched the eco-city initiative in 2014 to counter climate change and foster new industries in the energy sector, while also lowering electricity fees to lessen the burden on households. The government has so far selected 19 counties for designation as eco-cities. At the country's National Assembly, where several lawmakers are caught up in abuse of power scandals. This have caused turmoil in the party's ranks, with two prominent representatives already having lost their jobs. Shin Se-min has this story.
One after another, Korean lawmakers are finding themselves in hot water for abuse of power allegations less than a month after the 20th National Assembly started work. It all surfaced with the main opposition Minju Party lawmaker Seo Young-gyo, who last week was discovered to have hired her daughter to work as an intern in her office at the parliament. The party leaders have asked Seo to resign. 5 additional lawmakers, this time from the ruling Saenuri Party, including Park In-suk and Lee Wan-young, were found to have given jobs to family members. In the wake of the revelations, the ruling party announced Wednesday it is banning its lawmakers from hiring relatives as aides. And the floor leader Chung Jin-seok said the party will screen all its lawmakers for questionable hiring practices, including nepotism, while reinforcing the party's ethics code. The minor opposition People's Party is also paying the price for a corruption scandal within its ranks. The party's co-founders, An Chol-soo and Chun Jung-bae, resigned Wednesday to take responsibility for the allegations against 2 of its lawmakers who are accused of forging contracts with PR agencies and receiving tens of thousands of dollars in kickbacks in exchange. The party has vowed to punish the lawmakers and keep the National Assembly from being tainted by corruption in the future. Shin Se-min, Arirang News.
The 2016 Rim of the Pacific naval exercise has begun off the coast of Hawaii. Over 27 countries are taking part in the exercise, making it the largest to date. South Korea has deployed 700 Navy personnel, along with warships, including an Aegis destroyer and a submarine. The exercise, which runs through August 4th, will focus on anti-ship, air, and submarines, and will include live firing drills. Korea has designated the shipbuilding industry as a sector to receive special state support in the face of widely expected massive layoffs due to ongoing corporate restructuring. The government, however, has excluded the country's top 3 shipbuilders from receiving related benefits. The country's labor minister made the announcement today. Let's take a listen.
Major shipbuilders still have a certain amount left in terms of order backlogs, meaning there's room to maintain employment. Most smaller firms are in court receivership or discussing self-rescue plans, so relatively speaking, operational conditions at the big 3 are in better shape.
Pundits say this decision may be to pressure the top 3 companies to come up with voluntary restructuring plans. The support measures will include providing funds so firms can maintain employment of their workers for longer stretches and pay overdue wages. Shipbuilding is the first sector to be designated a special employment support industry by the government after the country introduced the system last year. Korea Offshore and Shipbuilding Association expects up to 63,000 workers in the industry to lose their jobs by the end of next year. In some much-needed positive news for the local economy, Korea's output across all industries rose at the fastest pace in 15 months. But whether the upward trend will continue remains uncertain. For the numbers and more, here's our Kim Hae-sung.
Korea's output across all industries rose 1.7% in May from the previous month, posting a turnaround from the near 1% drop logged in April. This also marks the biggest rise in 15 months. Statistics Korea says May's output figure was led by stronger industrial production in the mining and manufacturing sectors that rose 2.5%. In particular, semiconductor and auto output saw some impressive gains on the back of improving export conditions. The pace of decline in Korea's exports slowed in May, dropping 6% from the same period a year earlier after it plunged over 10% in April. Outbound shipments had mostly recorded double-digit declines for nearly a year and a half. The finance ministry, however, cautioned against too much optimism, saying the rebound came on the back of a low base effect seen in April. It added more data should be reviewed to determine whether the upward trend will persist, as Britain's decision to leave the European Union is forecast to have a negative impact on Korea's exports. The ministry also said the consumption tax cut on automobiles that ends this month will put a dent in retail sales that rose over 0.5% in May from the previous month. 김혜성, Arirang News.
Renowned futurist Alvin Toffler has died at the age of 87. The self-trained social scientist gained worldwide recognition with his 1970 book Future Shock, which predicted that modern society will suffer from stress and disorientation caused by rapid structural and technological changes. Toffler is also credited with popularizing the term information overload, which he analyzed in his following works such as The Third Wave and Power Shift. Later on in his career, the author founded Toffler Associates, a consulting firm that worked with several businesses and national governments, including the U.S., Mexico, and Korea. And that brings us to the end of our newscast. More updates coming up at 6 p.m. Korea time, so stay tuned and goodbye for now.